Can you use the 2021 iPad Pro as your sole computer? I mean completely not having a laptop or an extra computer, but just using this for everything. Short answer is yes. The more complicated answer is it depends. My name is Z, and in this video I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on who can use the iPad Pro as a sole computer. First thing is first, iPads have come a long way, and with the iPad OS, they seem to be moving towards the direction of making these a computer replacement for some people. But personally, I don't think they are there yet for everyone, but for some people, they are definitely moving in the right direction. And here I have the 2021 model, which has the M1 chip in it, and it also has the Magic Keyboard, which is probably one of the best tablet keyboards I've ever used in my life. So who should buy this and who can use this as their sole computer? If you're a light user and all you do maybe is use Microsoft Word and browse the net and maybe watch videos, then the iPad Pro is gonna work. Like it's probably gonna be the best thing. Of course, it's a little bit different to Mac OS, so the operating system is not necessarily the same, but it's very, very close and very similar. And over the years, of course, they've moved towards the direction of including file managers. So you'll be able to transfer files here. You can use a dongle. And the beauty of the 2021 iPad Pro is it's got USB-C. So that means you can use all your USB Type-C dongles on this. I've been using it to plug in my SD card, my SSD drive, and it works fantastic. I've been using this excessively for the past few days as my sole computer, and I was actually switching from the MacBook Pro, the 14-inch with the M1 Pro chip, and I have to say I actually haven't really felt a huge difference. The only time that I feel the difference is when I have to start editing videos or editing some of my content, because I use Adobe Premiere Pro, After Effects, and Photoshop and Lightroom. You do have access to Photoshop and Lightroom on iPad, but Premiere Pro and After Effects are not yet supported. So that's the only time that I really feel like, oh man, I can't actually work on this. Just something to note, I'm gonna be editing this video using Lumafusion on this iPad. So if you wanna see how I edited it and how I used Lumafusion, do check that out here. But like I said, if you're just a light user and all you do is office work, this iPad is a yes. You can definitely use this as your sole computer. Now, moving on to the next person. If you're a photographer, I think this is probably a yes for me. One of the main reasons is the USB Type-C port and the fact that you now have the file manager here, so you can import your images even straight from your SD card. So I use an SD card reader that's got a USB-C connector, and it works just fine. And I just import my images into Lightroom, and it's amazing. It's probably the best thing editing your photos on an iPad. I've been editing raw images from my Sony camera, and on average they are each 30 megabytes, and it's just been snappy. It hasn't been lagging, it hasn't been slow. Even with really heavy edits where I was adding masks and different things to the images. And of course, you also have access to Photoshop. The iPad Photoshop is still not yet the fully blown out that you get on your desktop or your MacBook, but it works fine. You can actually, finish some projects here or start them here and then transfer them to your computer. It's just an amazing workflow, especially using the Apple Pencil. If you're a videographer who edits their own videos, it's a maybe. So the reason why I say maybe is because I'm a Premiere Pro editor, and Premiere Pro is not supported yet on iPad. And even if you're a Final Cut editor, you don't have Final Cut Pro on iPad yet. There are rumors that it's gonna come. Actually, there were rumors that it was gonna come last year in 2021, but it's not yet here. So maybe this year Apple will actually launch Final Cut for iPad, and that's going to be a huge game changer for a lot of people, because the M1 chip here is so powerful already, and it can edit 4K footage. So I can see a lot of people actually considering starting to use the iPad, because there are some laptops that are just not as fast as the iPad, which is mind-blowing. However, it's a yes if you are a Lumafusion editor. Personally, I don't think it's as fully blown out as your Premiere Pro or your Final Cut, but it has so much that can cover for a lot of people. That is why I'm actually editing this video in Lumafusion, to see and kind of show you what you can achieve with Lumafusion if you're someone who's not a heavy editor and all you're doing is YouTube videos or just some light commercials. You will be able to come up with really good videos in Lumafusion. If you are using it paired with the Magic Keyboard, you can also pair it with the Magic Mouse and you have a full computer. Another thing to note is an external monitor is supported, but it's not yet optimized to fill up the entire screen. When you connect this to an external monitor, it's still fixed to a 4.3 aspect ratio. It doesn't go into the default 16:9, but I think it's something that they're going to update in the near future. For me and my kind of workflow, I think even if Premiere Pro was to come on the iPad, I would still get it only as an additional device, because I still like to have a bigger computer, because for me a computer is supposed to be just something bigger, whereas the iPad is just so small and nice and convenient, don't get me wrong, especially, you know, with this Magic Keyboard. It just feels so durable. There's no flex in the keyboard. You can hold it and you just feel like this is a solid device. But I don't know, I just feel like it's not a computer yet. If you're an animator or you are into 3D modeling and stuff like that, I think I'd say no for the iPad. You definitely need the bigger beasts. I'm not so sure how it would do. I know the iPad is going into your AI and, you know, just having these 3D applications. But when it comes to, you know, doing stuff in Cinema 4D, doing stuff in Blender, or even animating 3D stuff in After Effects, there isn't much that's supported yet on the iPad OS. I don't know, if I'm wrong, please correct me if you know something, but I don't think this would be ideal anyway for an animator, because you definitely need the bigger screen, you definitely need the bigger real estate to work with. If you're an illustrator, then this is probably the best thing you could ever invest in. I know the Apple Pencil, especially the 2nd gen, paired with the iPad Pro, are probably one of the best combinations, especially when it comes to sketching. I am not a sketch artist, but I am a graphic designer and I work in Illustrator and, you know, your different graphic design apps. But what I know is the iPad is packed with so much goodness that is beneficial to people who sketch and people who do illustrations. And you have so many options when it comes to applications, Adobe Illustrator, you have Procreate, you have so many different apps actually when it comes to sketching. With that said, I hope you understand why it depends on your workflow and what you actually do. This is an amazing and powerful device. Let's not forget that this is still an iPad, so you can use it as a computer with the Magic Keyboard, but at the end of the day, you can still take it off, and use it as an iPad. This is just one of the most convenient things I've ever seen. I can take it to the lounge, use it on the couch, I can use it in bed, I can use it on a desk, and it just feels like it's convenient. This is probably the closest the iPad has ever been to replacing your computer, and I'm pretty sure it won't take too long for them to actually get to that point. It could be one of those gadgets where you end up going for the iPad instead of a MacBook. And I think the Magic Keyboard is at the center of everything when it comes to making this your computer, because it just works. It just feels like you're using a MacBook, and it's the best experience you can ever have. I hope this video is helpful and it gives you a little bit of insight on whether you should get the iPad as your laptop replacement. Apart from that, thank you for sticking around.